Thank you. That's fabulous. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jenny Beamer. I am the Senior Executive Director here in Michigan with the American Cancer Society, and I'm so excited to kick off a really fun conversation. And first, I have the esteemed honor of introducing the amazing Alicia Jeffries, EVP with the Detroit Pistons and an awesome partner and leader with the American Cancer Society as well.
Thank you. So I'm actually really honored tonight to welcome all of you to the Henry Ford Detroit Pistons Performance Center. I don't know about the NFL, but in the NBA there's no height requirement, so I apologize if you cannot see me in the back. We opened this building in 2019, and we always called it a community asset. And we are especially proud today to be able to host an event like this around NFL drafts with the American Cancer Society. It's an important piece for us to make sure that our community knows that our doors are always open for them. So I love that you guys can see a peek inside our practice facility. We're one of the only professional NBA teams that actually allows people to get a sneak peek into our facility. So enjoy, feel free to take pictures. I also do have a personal connection to American Cancer Society. At age 28, I was diagnosed with cancer. I'm happy to say I'm 12 plus years cancer free. Shout out for that. So I'm very excited for all the work that the NFL and the ACS groups are doing together in this space to change people's lives. So I really hope you guys enjoy our facility, enjoy this event venue space, and this awesome panel you're about to hear. So with that, I will take it over to Maya.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Okay, we can do better than that. Come on, guys. Well, I just wanted to thank everyone for being here. Thank you to the American Cancer Society for having me. Thank you to our panelists and, of course, the Detroit Pistons for being such great hosts. My name is Amaya Allen. I am a communications coordinator at the National Football League, and I have the pleasure of amplifying all the great work that the NFL is doing off the field. And one of my favorite causes, I'll say, is Crucial Catch, which is the NFL's partnership with the American Cancer Society, educating our fans and the broader NFL family and community about early detection and screening. So it's great to be amongst this crowd. I'm from Chicago, so it's good to be back in the Midwest for drafts in Detroit. So this is just an amazing evening, and I'm excited to be here with panelists because despite working at the NFL, I don't get to interact with players as much as people really think. So this is a treat even for me as it is for you all. So I'm excited to introduce you to our panelists. To my immediate left, we have Quentin Johnson, who is at the University of Michigan. Mike Martin, who is a Detroit native, former NFL legend, and University of Michigan defensive end and former captain. All right. And then lastly, another NFL legend, Usama Young, and currently works at the league office in player engagement. So we're so happy. I'm excited I know a little bit about these panelists, but I'm excited for you all to hear from them directly. And we're gonna start with you, Quentin. Okay. All right. So you declared for the 2024 draft. You knew this was coming, right? But you made the decision to stay back in Ann Arbor, stay at the University of Michigan. Talk to us about that decision, kind of what went into that, and then I just want to know personally, how do you feel with the draft being here in Michigan, in Detroit? Like, what kind of feelings are going on with you for that?
Yeah, so I'll start off with the draft being in Detroit. It's definitely cool seeing the city. The Detroit Lions had made a lot of progression this year as a team, and it's cool to see how the city embraced that, especially with us as well having a good season. The city deserves it. It's going to be a great turnout, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the city has to offer. Going back to why I decided to come back to Michigan this year is unfortunately after the Alabama game, I tore my hamstring. And I really had to reevaluate January and February what the draft would look like for me if I was to enter. And then I had a conversation with Coach Moore late February about the opportunity coming back. And he really gave me good insight about what it would look like if I came back this year and how the team and I would both be served. And I'm just appreciative that the opportunity was even there. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be a great year.
I was going to ask if there are any Michigan fans here, but it seems that Mike, also playing at University of Michigan, and being here in Detroit. Yeah. And former NFL legend, you played for a few years in the league. Talk to us, I know Quentin touched on it, but talk to us about the excitement around, I mean, really just sports in Detroit, but also the NFL draft being here for the first time ever.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Detroit, Jefferson and Van Dyke. Riverview Apartments. My mom's still a nurse at Detroit Medical Center. She's been there for 25 years. And shout out to Mom. And she wished she could be here. She's actually on call today, so she says hello, everybody. But, you know, growing up here, it just hits different. You know, like, I was always a Lions fan growing up. All the things that you're a fan of growing up in Detroit. Detroit, you know, it's like Eminem, Lions, right? Like Kelvin Johnson, right? And then growing up at Michigan, right? And watching guys like Desmond and Chad Henne, Jake Long, Lamar Woodley, all these guys play, and just wanting to emulate, hopefully have an opportunity. But, the thing that makes a place special are the people. And the city of Detroit is special because of the people. I mean, it's like one of those places that it's a big city, but it feels small because of how connected you can be with the people here. And Michigan is a special place. I was just with Quentin and with Davis Warren here just a little bit ago at Michigan for a mentorship thing. And it brought people back. It brings back a couple hundred guys. And Brandon Moore is in the room right here who I played with at Michigan. And football is special. It brings people together. And we're all here. It's the NFL draft week. And we're here because of football, but we're here because of talking about the American Cancer Society. We're going to talk about important things and bring awareness and bring people around something that's special. So I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. And I would agree with you on that about what makes Detroit special. It's really the people that are here. And here at the NFL, we have the pleasure of impacting communities. And Detroit has just been so special because, obviously everyone's excited, but just to see how appreciative people are of a big a big event being here. Earlier this week with the American Cancer Society, we were at Henry Ford Health doing a healing arts activity with some other Detroit Lions legends, and just the excitement around, yes, the activity, but the initiative from the players to give back as well has been really, really special to see. And Usama, I'm coming to you, being an NFL legend. I have the distinct pleasure of working with Usama at the league office, and you played for years. He is a Super Bowl champion as well. So talk to me about kind of your transition into your playing career, now your professional career, and kind of what you do on a day-to-day basis at the league.
I love it. And first off, thank you all for putting this together. ACS, American Cancer Society, this is amazing. I'm fortunate to be a part of it, share the stage with you all. With that said, you talked about the transition. Being a guy from the East Coast, DC, Maryland area, and then going to Kent State University, I got a little taste of the Midwest.
There you go, yep.
And the people. And I truly embraced that opportunity when I was a college student athlete, and I really poured into, like you mentioned, mentoring and giving back. When I got drafted to New Orleans, that was an amazing experience for me because it allowed me to be a part of community. It was shortly after Katrina. We were able to clean up an area. We were able to provide people with hope. And then eventually when we won, You saw people in the crowd, crying, strangers, people that didn't even know one another. So when you bring up football, bringing folks together, I got to really see that. And it was embodied in that city. But as you all know, from Detroit, hard workers come out here. Folks are built tough. And immediately when I get in a room like this, you see it. You see the unity, you see the bond, and I want to be a part of that. And when I transitioned into the league as a player, I just said, you know what, I got this platform. I'm able to volunteer. I'm able to partner. I'm able to build community and be a part of this. So I embraced that as a player. I also had to know, football came first. I got a ball on the field, as we all know. If I don't ball on the field, there's not going to be any opportunities. So taking care of business on the field was huge for me. And the pressure, it increased significantly coming from Kent State, which isn't along the lines of Michigan, but at the same time, I wanted to show people that I deserve to be on the field, that I belonged on the field, that I could thrive. So I got that chance. Once I got to the league, and then I know a lot of you all are working in different spaces now. Imagine, you being in practice or in the weight room. Imagine you're typing on your laptop. And next thing you know, your boss brings up someone to type right next to you and says, hey, we're going to see who can type the fastest. And whoever types the fastest is going to stay on the team. The other one, you're out. That's what the reality was as a pro. And I took that on as a badge of honor to say, you know what? It doesn't matter the pressure. It doesn't matter how hard I got to work. I got to be on at all times, and I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to embrace it. And then once I transition going into this next career path in player engagement, I'm able to embrace that pressure. And I look forward to opportunities where I can showcase my talents. I can build up my team. I can embody what I work for. And that's been the main thing for me. That transition has been the same. The same way I go about my work ethic on the field is how I go about my work ethic in the office. I'm fortunate to be able to serve in player engagement, be a part of organizations and opportunities like this and work with great people like you. So I love it and I embrace it every chance I get.
That's awesome. You talked about balling out and putting 100% on the field. That's not a type of pressure that I've experienced as an athlete, but you all have. And being champions, just winning the national championship. You said you just won a Super Bowl, right? Talk about the pressure that goes into those big moments on the field, making those big plays, coming in clutch. And then after winning, experience the highest of highs. How do you stay motivated to go back out there and do it again and again and again?
Yeah, well, it's definitely a lot of adrenaline. And honestly, you see some guys that shy away from that adrenaline. Some guys use that adrenaline to their advantage. In both cases, it's all about managing your highs and managing your lows and being able to be stable, being able to go out each day, no matter if you're playing Ohio State or the first game of the year, and putting on the same consistent effort that it takes to go out and win. At the end of the day, when it comes to managing your feelings, managing emotion, managing anything you want, you got to be able to be level-headed and level-minded and make sure that you know that all that matters is you're going out there and giving 100% effort. At the end of the day, you're competing with yourself. You're competing with that guy in the mirror to make sure that you know that if you're giving 100% effort and you're giving your best, and you look your best out there, that's all you can ask for. That's all you can expect.
Yeah, the thing that comes to my mind is, excellence is in the little details every day. Like doing the things that you absolutely hate to do every day. And it's like gravitating towards those things and consciously choosing those things every day. And I had a coach talking about mentorship again, because we're all a product of our environment. And I had some great men and coaches around me that this coach is like, do 10 minutes extra and come 10 minutes before. Work your hands, work your eyes, work your feet, do this stuff. And I'm an 8th grader in high school or in middle school, and I'm like, this kind of seems silly. I'm hitting a box, a tape box on a padded wall in a gym. But that right there taught me so much about working my craft and just outworking the person that whoever it was. And at the end of the day, it comes down to competing against yourself, like you said. And when you don't feel like it, you're getting up and you're doing it. And then even when you win, going back the next day, like 24 hours, okay, you got to have a short-term memory, whether it be negative or positive. And that's the thing that I think athletes were so good at, is having that ability to take a situation and then, okay, how do I kind of wipe it away and bring my best self forward in this next play, this next opportunity, this next day, this next business meeting, or being a father, right? Or myself, I got 2 kiddos, right? We all have bad days, and it's like, you know what? That doesn't mean I have to have another bad day. I can have a positive outlook and be better this next day. So kind of just wraps into everything you do. And then on the field, that's the easy part. So the hard part is practicing and grinding and training, having that grit every day, and then, you go out there and do what you do. So.
I won't belabor the point, but I'll say exactly what you said. In terms of being a pro, it's all about compartmentalization and being able to take on this one situation that you dealt with and then move into the next. And hey, whether I came out on top, whether I failed, because I would lie to you if I said I covered everybody to perfection and I didn't give up a touchdown. I gave up several touchdowns. But to make it in the league, you got to make more plays than giving up plays. In the same breath, like you said, managing the highs and the lows, I think that's what allows you to thrive. That's what allows you to sustain and perform at a high level. Compartmentalization came out big for me in big games, because you give up a play and then you got to move on to the next one. And that short memory, again, it translates to my current situation. I had an event today in which I was leading and everything was going right. And then next thing you know, something went wrong and I beat myself up about it. Then I had to say, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than me. Big Sean said that too. So it's bigger than me. And that's something that I truly own today. And it's thinking team first. Team first in everything I do. And every now and then we're human. We're going to have our selfish thoughts. But if I think team first, that's when we all can thrive. That's when I can put my ego behind me and I can thrive on the field. My job isn't more important than the D lines, than the offensive lines, than the coordinator or the interns. No, we're all in this together with the same goal.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And one thing I love that each of you shared, even if, I don't know how many former players are in here, but even if you've never even stepped foot on a football field, you've never really played at the professional level, you can take what you all said and apply that to your everyday life, compartmentalizing, teamwork, commitment, dedication, consistency. You can all apply that to whatever craft you have, business, organization, talent, skill. So I hope you all are gaining nuggets and gems and insight from our great panelists, because I sure am. Are you guys? Yeah. Okay, cool. Basam and Mike, I want to turn to you. Obviously being former players and knowing, you just mentioned what it takes to succeed in the league. What advice can you give, and I'm helping you out here, what advice can you give to Quentin, who's on his way to that professional level? And what would you tell yourself maybe when you were first drafted or just entering into the league?
I'll just talk about what I had. I had a veteran that kind of put me under his wing when I got to the Tennessee Titans and I got drafted, Jarrell Casey. He's a great friend of mine still to this day. And, he's like, look, man, this is a marathon, not a sprint. I want you to learn how to be a pro. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, what do you mean, man? Like genuinely asking, because I'm like, I feel like I'm doing everything right. I'm taking care of my body. I'm studying. I'm on time, obviously. My weight is good. I'm working hard in the weight room, all this kind of stuff. And, it's just like, you have to look at it through a different lens of the environment that you're in. The collegiate space is different than the NFL space. And he really taught me, like, man, you got to watch more film. Like, you think you're watching a lot of film, you're not watching enough. Like, because he would stick behind in the meeting room, and I'd be like, what are you doing, man? Like let's go to lunch. Or like, he's like, no, man, I sit in here and watch another 30 minutes of film every single day. And I'm watching the guy I'm going up against. I'm watching the guards and the tackles and the centers for 30 minutes. And I'm getting some cues and, like, that kind of stuff. Like when you're so good in college, you know, not to toot my own horn, but like you can't block it. You can't block it. And in the NFL, like that talent comes with you, but the mental spread is really like where the gap, I feel like a lot of guys can maybe kind of look past or not really take the emphasis on of, you know, that's the thing that kind of keeps you in the league. Beyond taking care of your body, it's really studying your opponent, knowing pre-snap cues, like what's going on in the situation of the game, how to think about, you know, really situations. I mean, you see guys like when a game is close and, you know, let's not score, you know, hey, running back some time on TV, purposely go down and get tackled so that the time can kind of run out. Like these little things, right? And as a defensive lineman, you have your own kind of things too to think about. But in life, it's understanding, okay, what are now the new sets and new rules that I need to adapt to and learn and learn how to be a pro of this new set of rules. And you go from being the best in the world at what you're at, now going, you know, me, I've been in finance for 9 years. You're out of your place. You're like, man, I don't know what's going on. But that's just another opportunity to relearn, re-engage, and retool your tool belt. And that's what it's all about. So whatever we and I'm a new dad too. I know I said that a couple times. I love being a dad. And that's like, you're learning every day with that too, right? So it's like, we're learning, you know, how to learn to be better and looking at the tape of life, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Summer, what about you?
First, man, I'm going to talk specifically to you right now. Because we're talking rookie. You know, you're not there yet, but you're preparing for it. It was great having a conversation with you before we stepped on stage because it seems like you're going in the right direction. One thing is, you know, I care about community, and you talked about what you want to do in the community, so I love that. The second thing I want to say, as a rookie going into a veteran locker room, a veteran-driven locker room, a coaches-driven locker room, know your role. Know your role. A lot of guys come in with a big head thinking they already know the game, they've been this, they've been that, they thrive in Michigan. Hey, that doesn't matter anymore. What you do now matters. So like Mike brought up, preparation is key. One of my favorite coaches to this day, he said, look, you'd rather be prepared and not get the opportunity than to get the opportunity and not be prepared. You step out on that field and you think you're ready to go, but you didn't put in those extra hours and you get the opportunity you've been wanting. And you go out there and bed. We don't know when that opportunity is going to come again. So I always say over-prepare. When you come into a room like this, do your research on the people. Best believe I Google you. I said, oh, he's from my area. Hey, that's what's up. Oh, I got to talk about his old coaches. So that's what I would say, preparation, but also I'm going to echo that part of mentorship. Whatever room you're in, it's going to be a wily veteran in there. It's someone in there that you can look at and say, you know what, I'm going to emulate everything that he does. Do that. If it's spending extra time, if it's taking care of your body, if it's building rapport with coaches that you see them doing, do it. Because you stick with what works. And if it's working for him, it's probably going to work for you. So that would be my 3.
All right. You got it, Quentin. So what I heard is mentorship, preparation, and humility. Those are 3 points that just stuck out to me. But I would love to hear from you about, you know, what excites you about this new journey that you're about to go on. Hopefully to be a professional one day. Usama talked about the opportunity that you have to impact a community, obviously playing against some of the greatest in the NFL. What is some of the main things that really get you excited about your next chapter?
Well, starting with this year, coming back to school, it's definitely a great opportunity to kind of be the older guy in the locker room and take on that mentorship role, and then paying it forward, going to the NFL, and then starting back out, being a young guy in the room again, and then seeing how I can grab, like you guys said, grab an older guy and make sure that I am using what he's doing and trying to take advantage of all the opportunities that I have by allowing myself to be fully aware of what he does, how he prepares, how other guys prepare, how coaches see you, and just being a sponge to everything I can. It's something I definitely look forward to being the bottom of the totem pole, or even if it's the top of the totem pole, and knowing where you are and what your role is in the team, figuring that out and going out and just executing that job. Wherever I am, I'm just excited take that next step and be able to take advantage of it.
Awesome. We'll all be following your journey for sure. And we wish you.
Appreciate it.
One term that we throw around in the league office is the future of football. And we've seen so much innovation within sports in general, but obviously the NFL, because that's what I know the best. International games, new initiatives and programs giving back to the community, even new rules on the field. What excites you all most about the future of football, where the game is headed? Even, areas like NIL and college, like there's just so much happening. I would love to know personally from each of you what most excites you about football and where it's headed.
Well, NIL is great. Beyond that, on the NFL level, just the reach that the NFL office is trying to engage with and really going the distance on trying to make the game more invitable to different people who wouldn't necessarily know football or watch football is something that's really cool. It's really seeing being engaged and really being able to take those opportunities to even go international and just different things that the league office is doing. It's really cool to see. It's really dope.
Well, thank you.
So my whole thing on NIL is, yes, it is dope. It's super cool. I wish I could have been a part of it on the financial end. I'm a little jealous, but it's all good. But no, seriously, my part about NIL that I actually love the most is the fact that it's forcing these young men and women to really think about business and their future sooner. Because it forces the point. I mean, you're being cut a check. I don't care if it's 1,000 or 100,000, whatever it is. Like you're receiving an income. Like the income that I was receiving was my scholarship check, and that was it. And now you have to learn about taxes, how to figure out my household, no matter what size it is. Like, how do I pay my bills? I may have a credit card. How's that work? Okay, how do I leverage all these little things? And that's just a benefit. I mean, that should be happening much earlier. We started to teach financial literacy in schools, which I love. And so that's something that I didn't think about until I got drafted. And I got drafted, and I'm on the phone with Mike Munchak, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come play for us in Tennessee?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." And my agent is hugging me and stuff, and he's like, "You're gonna save a lot of taxes being in Tennessee." I'm like, "What's that gonna mean?" That was my first learning lesson about taxes. Hey, I got drafted in Ann Arbor. I had that counter on Eels on Main Street, and but yeah, I'm really excited about the game in general, the engagement in the community. I've done a youth camp in the past, and I'm involved with the Boys and Girls Club in America here in Detroit, and just trying to do a lot with engaging with kids because we got to expose kids to what's possible. Bringing kids to places like this, the Big House, the Detroit Pal. I've been really involved with Detroit Pal, and they're having their championship game at the Big House. And this is the first time they're ever doing it, which is super cool. And there's a donor that put up the money to be able to do that. And that right there alone, for these kids to be able to play in the Big House, being a young person, man, okay, anything is possible, So that's what I'm excited about the game, to just get kids exposed and get them out there in the world.
Love that.
I love that too. I'll say first off, to stick with the financial aspect. So I work in player engagement at the NFL, and I lead our financial education pillar. And that's for the players. A lot of times the negative storytelling goes out about players and their money making or how they're spending. And the one thing that I love to talk about is guys like Mike that are doing the education, that have done well, that have used the NFL as a head start, and then have continued on to give back. So when you all talk about the financial aspect, but then you also talk about the community aspect and how you're giving back, I love that. And then you bringing up your dad. I'm a girl dad. So the opportunity for my daughter to play football, flag football, is dope to me as well. So I get to see her. Yes, she's a swimmer. She does tennis. But now they say, you know what? Let's try out flag football this year. That's cool to me. So seeing the sport grow, seeing it offered to so many people, like you mentioned, and also taking it internationally is always amazing. The other thing that I love about what we're doing, and I get to have a little bit of a cheat code because I'm in the office, but I see the technology aspect added to it. Being able to see the officiating and how that's going to continue to advance. Ball tracking, how we're measuring the first and second down and third downs and how we're doing that. I love seeing that because, of course, it's cool to still have a human error aspect to it, but it's also good to see the advancement and the analytics being brought to the game. So I just like seeing growth and development throughout, and also testing it a little bit. Let's see how this works and see if it is something that the fans love and the players love.
Yeah, y'all are getting me excited. Technology, like football, international, this is great. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I don't know if you all have.
Yeah.
So this has been a true pleasure. I just have one more question before we close. We are here. This event is around being a game changer. We're here with the American Cancer Society, who is definitely doing some game changing in the cancer space and making people aware of early detection and research and cures to cancer. But I would love to know, what personally does it mean to you to be a game changer? Whether that's in football, in life, as fathers, as men, what does that mean, being a game changer?
Well, for me personally, it means a lot. Being able to, especially early on, my mother had breast cancer, but fortunately for her, they caught it early, and she was able to do the treatment and go about getting the right treatment to make sure that she eradicated that pretty much before even getting testing and screening and all that, especially in minority communities, is definitely a big thing that has to be brought up and has to be part of the discussion. And events like this make that happen. So thank you all for even allowing that to happen.
I empathize with that, man, because my mom had breast cancer as well, and she caught it early. Thank goodness, the medical professionals and everything, and caught it in stage 2. She's been great. She's been everything's been good. One of those things is, you get a scary feeling, and I know you can probably relate to that. Obviously, when you're, my mom's a single mother, and you get in a position where she's impenetrable, like just nothing can knock her down. She just gets it done, right? All your life, and then there's a moment where you kind of feel outside of your body as someone who, like, we're used to fixing things, getting it right, having control, like a lot of control in our lives to some extent, right? Outside of what the good Lord, has in faith for us, but you feel helpless, and the person that you love the most is just like, you got to figure it out, and it's scary. So, like, having that support around whomever that we love and we care about, like, that support is everything. And like the game changer thing, to your point, the best leaders that I've been around, the most successful people that I've been around in my life, are the most empathetic and humble people that I've ever met. And my definition of success, I don't think is maybe the mainstream media of success. And it's being a good leader of people. And that's just the character and principles and all these things, right? Living by them and showing them and doing them. And these people, they care about everybody else but themselves. It's like, how can I help you? Like, what do you need? Can I help out anyway? Like, what do you need? Like, being there for people, being genuine. And we're not going to be perfect. We're human, right? We're going to fumble, we're going to mess up. But it's about, like, being real, being there for people, there for those that you love, and just trying to show up and be, the best person you can be. So that's kind of my deal.
I couldn't agree with you both more. As a person that has lived a blessed life, I think about legacy. And when I hear game changer, I think about legacy. And my dad wasn't my mom. My dad battled cancer, and he was diagnosed my sophomore year in college at Kent State. And I still remember getting the call and thinking, I need to get home. He had fractured his back, working. He was a mailman at the time. I said, man, I'm coming home. He's like, no, stay up there, get your education. I'll be all right. Throughout my life, though, I watched my dad work and always put others first. So when you talk about serving, that's what he instilled in me, and that was the legacy that he left. Now, 10 years later, I'm balling in the NFL, balling. And he finally got to see my last game playing in the league. Now, I got hurt, ugly injury. And he said, man, this is the highlight of my life. Seeing you go out doing what you love to do. Yeah, you used to get hurt every now and then, but I saw that smile on your face. And it showed me all the time, all the push, all the investment that you put in the game, it meant so much to him. So to talk about what we're talking about right now in terms of game changing, my dad was a game changer. So now he put the pressure on me to be a game changer. He put the pressure on me to live out my legacy to where now I can look back and say, you know what? I was a servant. I was not perfect, like you said, but I was a servant. And everyone that meets me, I want them to know, hey, I'm putting you first. Because guess what? That's what my dad did. So when I think about game changer, again, all about legacy.
You definitely are all changing the game in your own unique and special ways. And I just want to thank you all for sharing your hearts, sharing your insight and your knowledge. As you can see, cancer affects everyone in some way. And I just thank you all for sharing your stories and being authentic and vulnerable. I know it definitely helped people. It helped me. And yeah, just thank you for a great conversation. We talked about the ties to cancer and how it affects everyone. I have the pleasure of bringing up Davis Warren, current quarterback at the University of Michigan, to share just a few words about his story and his unique.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Great panel. Good evening. My name is Davis Warren, and I play quarterback at the University of Michigan. Go look. And NIL is great. I can agree. But one of the most impactful title, maybe the most impactful title in my life, is I'm a cancer survivor. And 3, maybe 4 years ago, I probably wouldn't have had the courage to get up in front of all you guys and kind of tell my story, but I've kind of realized over these past couple of years the platform I have and being able to make a difference in people's lives. So I'm kind of going to share a little bit tonight. So in March of 2019, when I was 17, thought I just had a seasonal cold or something like that, and was progressively getting worse, and started taking 6-7 Advil a day to even just function. And my dad had a fatherly instinct that something was wrong, so he whisked me away to the local urgent care, and that was a decision that would kind of change the path of my life. We started more questions than answers. But then ended up getting the answer that kind of I was dreading all along, and that was cancer, specifically leukemia. And at that moment, you can't really describe what that really feels like. And the room felt incredibly still. I was kind of at a loss for words at what to even say or think, and just felt like the wind got taken out of me. And as a kid who was aspiring to be a college football player and play football at the highest level, I was felt like that dream had vanished, and life got very simple, very fast. And as that kind of night progressed, and I was there with my dad in the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, where I'm from, I quickly realized how kind of the path I had in front of me, and was more focused on getting better than anything else. And the question I always asked was, why me? What made that happen, and why was I the one who had to deal with this at such a young age? Didn't really feel fair. And as the weekend went on, I got the official diagnosis, which is acute myeloid leukemia. And it's the more rare and aggressive form of childhood cancer. And the doctors told me treatment cycle is normally 5 to 8 months. And in my naive head, I thought that 5 to 8 months, I can be back at school in September and back on the field in October. Now, that was just simple math to me, but the doctors chuckled, obviously, when I mentioned it, and I understand why, because the world of childhood cancer is a cruel and harsh place, which I've come to realize over the last kind of 4 to 5 years. But I didn't let their doubts get to me at the time. I was adamant on returning to the field, and I knew that football was going to play a big part in my recovery. And I had a coach, his name was Chris Baleo, and he told me something that really flipped my perspective. And he said, and this was in my first week when I was getting chemotherapy, maybe I think it was like the second or third day, and he would call me almost every day, and he said, why not you, Davis? Why can't you be the kid who not only beats cancer, but then can turn around and still chase your dreams and do all the things that you want to do in life? And that really changed my perspective and made me realize that, yeah, it can be me, that I can be that kid. And obviously a lot of blessings and from the grace of God for me to be able to do that, but it was possible, and I think that made a big difference in my recovery. So I spent weeks in the hospital at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. I got a stationary bike in my room so I could bike around. After getting a week of chemotherapy, I have to stay in the hospital for 2 to 3 more weeks, and walking around this little courtyard inside the hospital gates just to get some sun and feel like I was progressing towards my goal. Or sometimes that meant push-ups or air squats. There's nothing like what we do now or anything that these guys were doing, but it felt like it was something. Sometimes playing catch with my dad, just anything to make me feel like I was moving in the right direction. And like I said, by the grace of God and a great support system of doctors and nurses and obviously my family, I was done with treatment in 4.5 months, which was really special. And so 4.5 months later, I get out of the hospital, I go back to school, and I ended up probably 150 pounds, barely had any hair in my head, but I played in a football game on October 4th. Only a couple drives, but that really gave me the hope and the belief that I could do this, and that everything that my coach had told me that first week, could happen, could still happen, and that I could chase these goals that I had of playing football at the highest level and be the kid that I knew I had the talent of and capable of being. And what I really want to get across is what I've realized in these last couple of years of being at Michigan and having the platform that I have now is I was able to answer that question of why me. And being able to, as I started to do better and make a name for myself on the field, my platform grew, my story got out, and I was able to make a difference in young kids' lives. And that has been the most fulfilling thing I could have ever done. It makes me very sure that everything that I went through and experienced was worth it. And it's been a really fulfilling journey for me. And so throughout these last 3 years, I've taken countless trips to Mott's Children's Hospital, which is an incredible organization, and meeting kids who have had the same disease that I had, or even going to kids' houses and meeting them there, meeting them halfway. And I've been approached by people on social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, doesn't matter, asking me to offer my words of support for kids or grandkids or even grandmothers who are going through their own battles. And one thing that I always remind those kids is that they inspire me, that they remind me every single day that my journey was worth it and not to sweat the little things and appreciate them and life for what it is. And normally when I first meet these kids, they just recognize me as a football player, which they do think is pretty cool, and they do like it. And normally I come with other football players who, they smile and get autographs and are super excited. But then when I get to pull my sleeve up and they get to see the PICC line in my arm, the scar that I have from it, and usually they have the same PICC line running through their arm at the time, and they're sitting in the same hospital bed that I sat in. The awe and amazement that they have on their faces trying to put the two together is really, really special. And I've been able to do this so many times, and it gets more and more fulfilling every single time to be able to make that difference. And sometimes they need a picture or two of me from my time in the hospital when I was skinny as a beanpole with no hair on my head to truly believe that I went through the same thing that they did. But it is really, really special, and it creates a unique connection that only me and I know a couple other kids that are fought cancer that are now doing great things out in the athletics that we can have, and it's made a huge difference. So as I conclude here today, this isn't a sad story of feeling bad or anything like this. It's one of hope and gratitude, and I've become even more sure that my battle with this terrible disease was worth it, and it it happened for a reason, to make a difference in other people's lives and to understand that my platform can be used to make a major difference. And I'm so appreciative of everything that the American Cancer Society does to make this a world without cancer, because no kid or family should ever have to go through what I did. And so whether cancer has touched your life directly or not, it's my wish that today's events really inspire everyone here to make an impact, and everyone that came up on this panel did an incredible job, and I appreciate the opportunity. So thank you, and go Blue.
Short. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Can we give another round of applause? To our amazing moderator, Amaya Allen. Thank you. Our esteemed panel, Quentin, Mike, Osama, special guest Davis. Thank you for sharing just the inside scoop, the fun conversations, and happens to be your personal story. We really, really appreciate it. And I know everyone, I'm going to speak for everyone. We had a lot of fun listening to that group. So I will close this out, and I promise I'll be the last person to talk. I'm not nearly as cool as these individuals. But I absolutely want to say thank you. And a couple things, right? Tonight, you were invited here knowing that this is not a fundraiser. This was a fundraiser. I heard Osama say, this is bigger than us, right? That's why we're here. We're here to make connections. We're here to connect with each other, to collaborate, and we need each other because this is bigger than us. Cancer is way bigger than everyone in this room. And I promise you, right, the American Cancer Society, we are doing everything we can to connect all of us together to continue to make sure that we can make inroads in this disease. And we need to keep doing it together. So I want to highlight just a few really quick things that the American Cancer Society is doing, game-changing initiatives right here in Detroit. You heard Amaya mention, of course, Crucial Catch and the NFL. We're so proud to partner with the NFL on Crucial Catch. It allows us to do things like right now, right here in Detroit, we have an active Links to Care community grant. And what that does is allow us to connect a community health center right here in Detroit. It happens to be the Wellness Plan with an NFL affiliated hospital, which happens to be Henry Ford Health. And the goal there is that we can continue to make sure that women get the screening, the follow-up care, and the aftercare that they need, regardless of their insurance status or their ability to pay. Right? We know that that's going to make inroads. So we have that happening right now. Another absolute game-changing initiative that the American Cancer Society is getting ready to launch is a one-of-its-kind, never been done before study called Voices of Black Women Cohort Study. We are ready to launch that in May. And when we talk about needing each other, we need everyone in this room and beyond to make sure that we have everyone on board to ensure that we have the ability to enroll women in this nationwide study so that we can look deeper and more effective at the ways that we can improve the health and wellness of Black women as it relates to cancer, because we've got a lot of work to do. And lastly, one other thing, access to care as it relates to transportation. Transportation, right? We could have the best research, the best treatment options. If someone can't get it, what does it matter? We work hard to remove barriers to make sure that people can get access to care and get transportation to treatment. So a couple ways we do that. We have a program called Road to Recovery. It is a volunteer-driven program. We need more volunteer drivers. Right here in Wayne County, right now in 2024, we have had 240 requests for rides. We've been able to fulfill 106 of those. And now we are building back up our driver base, right? So we will be able to fulfill more of those rides to get patients to treatment when we have more volunteer drivers. Additionally, we have 6 active transportation grants with hospitals and healthcare centers in Detroit to also help them make sure they're getting patients to treatment. We continue to need investors in that program to remove that barrier. So I I could go on and on. I promise you I won't. But we have so much work to do. And that is, again, why we're here tonight. We invite you to, don't let the conversations, the connections, the amazing things that are going to happen, that have already happened and will happen in this room tonight, don't let it stay here. Let's continue it. Let's continue the conversations. Let's continue the connections. We will definitely be following up. We hope to meet you, right? Many of you we're friends with already, but many of you came here with a friend. And maybe you came for the food and the fun and this amazing panel, and which is great. We're so glad you're here. Let's continue the conversation. Let's keep the connection going, because we have made 33% decline in cancer mortality rate since 1990, okay? Yes. But I want everyone in this room to be part of the story we tell when we reach 50% by the year 2035. Yeah. Because we will, right? And we will. We only will if we all do it together and we keep making these really game-changing initiatives and game-changing collaborations. So thank you. Have fun tonight. Have fun this week. Have fun in Detroit. It's draft week.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great panel today. One of the things that I think is encouraging is you don't necessarily have to be a professional. You don't necessarily have to be a college athlete. You can be a game changer being yourself. You can motivate others and just share your story. We've all been touched by cancer. We all have our stories to show, to share with others, and maybe motivate somebody to tell their story, or maybe have them encouraged of how they can help maybe a family member that is in need. I think that's really what it is to be a game changer. Be yourself. You don't have to be a superhero where you've got a podium or you've got some kind of sports relationship, or you're this big person. Be yourself and help others and help the community.
For me, being a game changer means making a difference. I was blessed. One of my co-workers asked me to make a donation to their Making Strides Against Breast Cancer campaign. When they told me what it was about, I said, hey, I'm not just going to make a donation. I'm going to join your team. I had so much fun that the next year I started my own team. I kept pushing to raise more and more money, became a pace setter, got my family involved, and just knowing the number of people that it impacted. And a lot of people say, well, you're a guy, why are you raising money for breast cancer? Well, I was raised by a single parent mom. I have 2 sisters. I have a wife, 2 daughters, and recently been blessed with 2 goddaughters. I want to make a difference while I can versus getting that call and saying, hey, I got cancer and I feel like I should have done a lot more. So doing it now, I know I'm making a difference and I'm being a game changer.
To be a game changer, I think it takes a lot of courage and a lot of faith. So super honored to be here tonight for the mission and the good work. And we love you all. Thank you.
I would say the definition of being a game changer is making a difference in even just one life. In a perfect world, it would have a ripple effect where you make changes along the road. But if you can even just make a positive change in one person's life, you are a game changer.
What does it mean to be a game changer? To me, it means being able to walk into a room and tilt it, make it better than it was before you got there, and then also being your authentic self. Sometimes it takes breaking a couple of rules to make room for others and changing the game.
I would say that first you have to open yourself up to be vulnerable, to see the landscape as it is. And then once you've made a decision about how you want to act or change or do something or make something better, to act with conviction and actually do it and to follow through.
To be a game changer means to take action, to give of yourself, to make sure that you're helping and changing for others, to make sure you're being supportive and accessible, and making sure that you're being the change in the world that you want to see.